Alright, thank you very much for clicking on the video. This is Gulpain back again. Just a very quick review of this PlayStation Portable game that I've been playing recently. So basically this was got for me as a El Presente, as a little gift there, Montekia. And someone got it for me. I wasn't going to buy it myself because basically I only really wanted it for Symphony of the Night and original Rondo of Blood. So this one is basically, well, it is a Castlevania game, so you know I'd want it for the collection anyway. But I held off buying it and then someone bought it for me as a present. But this one basically is a 3D remake of Rondo of Blood, and I don't know what it is, but like the 3D graphics are okay. The PSP, you know, it's a good looking system anyway. The screen is very nice. The graphics on the games are sort of, you know, they're sort of PS2 style graphics. So they are pretty good to look at. They're not like PlayStation 1 or anything like that, so you know they're not difficult to look at as being presented here. This looks pretty good, but the 3D sort of 3D remake of Rondo of Blood, I don't think it is actually as good as the original Rondo of Blood. I might be wrong, but for me, the original Rondo of Blood, for some reason, the graphics just look fantastic in it. They're sort of like, well, they're obviously sprite based, you know, like TurboGrafx 16, TurboGrafx 16 CD or whatever it's called, based graphics. So they look really good. This one though, they could do a lot more. I don't know why they just didn't go full 3D. You know, if they're going to do a 2D remake with 3D style graphics, then what's the point? They should just made a whole new 3D game, made it like Castlevania Curse of Darkness. But anyway, they went for a 2D remake, and I don't know why they included the original game with it as a sort of a bonus as well. You know, just highlighting like how better the original game is than the remake they've done. But I believe at the time, well, not maybe at the time, but around this time, the mid noughties, well, I suppose they're still doing it now today, but a lot of the games are being remade in 3D, like older games. For example, like Golden Axe was remade in 3D, and I think Sega Ages Collection were doing it, so it was quite popular at the time. So maybe Konami were looking at, you know, looking at some of their franchises and be like, well, we could remake them in 3D, but in 2D as well. I think they did it for the Castlevania on Game Boy as well, on the Wii, if I'm not mistaken. But they really went, I mean, they did not do a good job of this at all, in my opinion. Some of it looks good, like the very start of it on the horse looks good, and some of the later stages look okay as well. But I don't know, for me, it's just the graphical side, maybe because I'm just so used to, you know, Symphony of the Night is one of my favourite games. I love that kind of graphic style, and the other Castlevania games, they kind of retain that aesthetic. You know, they're used there. Here you can see, like, you know, the 2D graphics over the 3D, and the 3D actually looks better. It kind of ages better as well. So then basically, like, you know, the Game Boy Advance games and the DS games, those Metroidvania style games, they retain that sort of sprite aesthetic, that old fashioned aesthetic. Even Bloodstained, although Bloodstained is like a 3D game, it still looks like an old fashioned sort of game. Although Bloodstained would be the most, like, Bloodstained would be the way to do it. Like here you see the parallax scrolling and the, well, eventually when it comes up, parallax scrolling and the sort of the 3D aesthetic. You can see the buildings and all that kind of being in 3D. But Bloodstained does it like way better. This sort of style, in my opinion anyway. This one, I don't know, it just looks flat. It doesn't really, I don't know, they just really didn't really do it. Case in point, when you unlock, so this is the same game as Rondo of Blood for the 32X, what's the 32X? The TurboGrafx 16. The 32X would not be able for the power of this game. The TurboGrafx 16, and then basically you can unlock, you can still save the female characters, and you can unlock through the medium of CDs, I believe. Or no, it's a discs. They look like floppy disks actually. You can unlock Symphony of the Night and original Rondo of Blood, which is why I actually wanted the game, because having Symphony of the Night on the go on the PSP is fantastic. I do confess to you know, playing through this game as fast as possible using a guide in order to get Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, and then I just played sort of Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night. And I didn't really play the 3D version that much, which to my detriment, because I went back and tried it and it's not actually too bad. The controls are sticky and they're stiff, and they're not as good as the controls of Symphony of the Night. I don't know why they just can't get it right. They just copy Symphony of the Night and they'll be fine with any sort of Castlevania game. But yeah, so that's just a very, very quick review, or a quick complaint about Rondo of Blood on the PSP, or the Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP. So thanks very much for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you like this game, let me know in the comment section below. Adios.